on YouTube and Facebook at the moment. Guys, this has been a really interesting. I kind of want to share a little bit about what's been going on. We've had a number of things happen in the voting season. Obviously we have October surprises and whatnot, but something that's been coming up again and again. Cameras, guys. Okay, so if I'm looking at this one, this one is going to be YouTube, and that one is Facebook. So the idea is this: vote is going to be overwhelmingly for Trump. But here's the way it breaks down, okay? You have two sets of Latinos in this country. You have the Latinos and whatnot that grew up here, okay? They grew up in the United States with a very weird interpretation of what life in Latin America is all about. Now, let's be truthful. When I was first born and being raised and whatnot, I was raised here. My family got out of Nicaragua, came here, and we were raised for the first beginning parts of our life here in the United States, specifically in San Francisco, California. And then we moved further south and ended up in Orange County. Okay. Throughout that time, though, between my birth and the time that we moved down to Mission Viejo, we're talking about between 1974 and 1983. Not only did we travel to Nicaragua to visit family, we traveled to Honduras to visit family. I lived for a year and a half in Peru, in Lima. I lived for a year and a half in Colombia, in Medellin. I was educated under their systems and then came back to the United States after each one of those little things. Then you get to the point where I went and lived in Nicaragua for long stretches at a time. Year and a half, 9 months, 6 months here, couple of years next, okay? During that time, I was immersed in my culture. I was immersed in the things that really mattered to the people of Nicaragua. Now, to give you an idea, I went down the first few times in the 80s when it was 100% communist. Went to school during communism. I've said this before, had a Cuban political officer as my physical education teacher down there. We were indoctrinated and the rest, okay? Then you have the people that are in the United States that came here directly from having lived their entire life in places like Nicaragua, Venezuela, Cuba, now Bolivia, okay? People that have gone into the communist socialist ideal and they escaped, came to the United States, okay? Or Canada, like a lot of my cousins went to Canada. We had a few that came into the U.S., some that went to Canada, okay? But those people live their entire life in those cultures. They come here, and what surprises so many people is that they end up being conservative, okay? Why? Because in Latin America, we still value hard work, independent thinking, the family, life is sacred, okay? Does that sound familiar? Is that something you might hear like at your supposed white supremacy churches and whatnot? You know, oh my gosh, being on time and working hard is part of whiteness. Sorry, dude, I'm not white in the sense of being Caucasian from Europe. In the sense, in that sense, I'm not from Norway or whatever the fuck. I am from Spain, Italy, Germany, very far back, so I will have to claim that little bit. Sorry, but for hundreds of years, my family has been removed from Europe and been in Nicaragua. I was the first, me and my sisters were the first generation that got to be in the United States. So, what does that say? One thing it says is that I have a lot of experience dealing with my family trying to get the asylum during an actual war when, just to let us know, again, all right, my family's home during the war was hit by a mortar. Luckily, the mortar did not go off, but it punched a giant hole in our roof and landed in our living room. Okay? That's the kind of war my family was escaping. All right. So they came here, and what did they do? Immediately went to work, did the rest of it. But you're not going to see a lot of them voting in the socialist way. My cousins that went to Canada are definitely a lot more liberal than I am, but they also remember what Nicaragua was like. So you're not going to see them voting for somebody like OC or Harris or anything like that, because they literally espouse the same exact ideals that we ran from in Nicaragua. So, what does that have to do with the election and everything else? This is what it has to do with it. An educated populace and educated constituency of voters is a good constituency of voters. Uneducated voters bring nothing but heartache to their people, okay, their societies, whatever. So it is more important than ever that all of us, left, right, middle, when we hear any kind of article that comes out, especially the ones that go along with everything you're expecting it to say, okay? Reading something about Biden, and it says Biden fell asleep during a debate, okay? I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, that's so possible. I've seen him nodding off and ramble, and he's old, and he's not probably worthy to be on the be the president of the United States due to the fact that of his mental incapacity, right? But I read the article, and I'm going to say, okay, what really happened? All this sleep? Was it a possibility he was his notes? So what am I going to do? First, I'm going to read the one that goes along with my point of view. Then I am going to go and read the opposition. Okay, like you guys know, I've said it many, many times. These are the people, I list the high marks of who I listen to, because it's the best way to give you the idea of the what do you want to call it? Bipartisanship of the information that I get. So, start off my day with Steven Crowder, okay? Good Morning Mug Club, and I listen to his funny stuff and everything that he has to say, and then I listen and I copy down all the links that he says go along with his story. Then I go on and I listen to people from the Daily Wire. Bam, 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 bam. They've got 3 or 4 shows. They're one right after another. I start my morning with a very, very conservative bent. Because after that, I have to go and listen to the Young Turks. I got to go listen to Tim Pool. I got to go listen to Al Jazeera. And then I got to track down all the freaking links that they have provided and see if they are from reputable sources. Okay? And everybody should do that. Specifically if that article runs along your party lines. Specifically because of that. Especially, I should say. So here's the thing. Immigration and voting. What does it come down to? It comes down to an understanding of what's actually happening down on the border. Now, you can sit there and you can say that I know what's going on because I've seen CNN and there's been 1 or 2 people that I've talked to. Okay? Great. You can also say I've seen Fox News. I've talked to a few people that know what's up. All right? Great. But what is the whole story? When is it that we can look back and use some common sense and understand a few things that are going on? So let's start. I reached out. Okay, for some of you that don't know, I spent about 9 months or so down on the border working with Border Patrol during Operation Jumpstart. Okay, Jumpstart was the initial program of building the initial wall from California to Texas. That it was during President Obama's whatchamacallit. No, I take that back. Sorry, it started during Bush and then moved on to during Obama. But When I was down there, we had to deal with Customs and Border Patrol all the time because it was their project. We were just the liaisons to do the engineering and the construction of not only the wall itself, but the supporting infrastructure. We ran electrical. We set up high tires for the major gates. We went up to, where's that, Air Force Base. We repurposed unused rail lines there for vehicle barriers, etc., down on the border. So when you're dealing with these things and you're there for 9 months every day driving along the border and whatnot, you get to know a few things. All right. One of the things that we dealt with every day was, and again, you got to go our ROE was, which was we were not allowed to engage. We were not allowed to make any arrests. We were 100% unarmed. That was the National Guard's job there. We were there to plus up, and if we saw something, we reported it. We had observation there that it was 3 teams in a Humvee. Senior guy in the Humvee had one M4 with, I think, 3 rounds in it, if I remember correctly. They were there just to be able to fire warning shot, bug out, should they be in danger. But their job was to observe and report back to Border Patrol. But you would have things like the same people jumping over the border every day, running, going to work. At evening time, when we're driving back, they're jumping back over the border. Okay? Now, that was in 2007. I get it. Things may have changed a little bit here and there. A few new laws and whatnot that went down. But the day-to-day operations of the facilities that are there on the border really haven't changed. So let's fast forward. Fast forward to 2014. Who was in office at the time? Barack Obama. Barack Obama comes out because there are caravans that are coming from Central America that are going to hit our border. 3, 4, 5,000 people at a time were coming up, hitting the border, requesting asylum, doing the rest of it. But a number of these people had unaccompanied minors. Okay. In fact, go back, look at it. Obama warns Central America to please not send their children. We have neither the facilities nor the way to care them, and they are being put on a very dangerous path coming up on the La Gran Culebra, I think is what they call it, the Great Snake, the train that brings them all the way up to the border. All right? Ends up happening. Unaccompanied children are detained. All right, they're detained because they have no family that we can release them to and whatnot. So they start calling family here in the country and whatnot. But our facilities are overrun. We're not prepared for this, and CBP cannot shit the millions of dollars overnight to build new facilities that are going to be up to the leftist standards, okay, where everybody has a bed, has their own toilet. There's no crowding. There's no misunderstandings of what people need and medical conditions. Let me put it to you this way, guys, and I spoke to a number of people that I know from my time back on Operation Start today because of a discussion that's been going on for 3 days. But let me put it to you this way, and this was an example I used before. If I were to walk up to you and say, hey, by the way, tonight or 2 days from now, okay, I am going to drop 30 unknowns on your doorstep. You better be able to house them comfortably, feed them, know all their medical needs, and be ready to pay for any medical conditions that they need to have treated. All of you would shit your pants. All of you. Why? Because 30 people is a lot of people to feed, house, and make sure that they're all comfy and they all got bedclothes and a bed and a toy and all that other shit. Right? But why is it that leftists and uninformed people that just live in this pie in the sky place, immediately believe that the United States is responsible to stand up skyscrapers, okay? Luxury apartments. And I'm being a little bit facetious there. But how long do you think it would take for you to be able to stand up enough accommodations for hundreds of people? Slashed. Agents were being prosecuted, killed for defending themselves. Okay, prosecuted by us, killed by the people coming over, the narcos, and the rest of it. All right? You have a demoralized, underfunded agency out there doing their best to cope with a situation that's been thrust upon them. Okay, so now we fast forward. 2014 happens, we get overrun, it sucks, things aren't that great, but a couple of years later, Trump enters the scene. Okay, what happens when Trump enters the scene? For about 3 months, according to my contacts in Border Patrol, now we're talking about people that have served from Texas all the way across to California, I contacted, and this is what they had to tell me. 2014, they were completely overwhelmed. They had to stand up what in the military we call hasty fighting positions, which is basically you scrape a hole in the ground and you jump in, all right? The equivalent being facilities made completely out of chain link fence, tents, and porta-johns and bottled water. Because we have to take care of these people. If we don't, the lefties get mad at us, right? Because we're being inhumane. Well, as people realized that Trump had the zero tolerance policy, okay, they stopped coming in the droves that they were. We're not talking about the caravans. Okay, those are singular events where thousands of people move as one. We're talking about the daily arrests, detentions, whatever you want to call them, of people crossing the border dropped significantly. Now, let me get here. Okay, 3 months after the election, Trump had made it so there was peace on the border. They went from 200 to 300 arrests in one section. Okay, one of my buddies' area of patrol, their sector went from 200 to 300 arrests per day to under 10. Under 10. That massive drop in numbers. So what does that do? That means that as we're processing through the numbers, more space is available at the permanent, more comfortable, quote unquote, and I would agree, more humane facilities. So what does that say? That means that today, the ones that Obama put up are not being used to house people anymore. They're still standing. According to my Border Patrol buddies, they have the tents up, they have everything there, and they're waiting and having it prepared in case there's another event where 3,000 people march in. They don't want to be unprepared again. They want to be able to filter them through as fast as possible. Now, when they are in the holding facility, there's a number of things that happen. First, you have to be processed, fingerprinted, find out your country of origin, and then put you into holding cells to process you through. Okay? Sounds about right? Some of us have been to jail, some of us haven't. For those of us who have been to jail, you know what it's like. I've been to jail, okay? Ooh, big secret. You sit cell. They take you into holding, they fingerprint you, take a picture of your ass, then sit you in the drunk tank while they're waiting to put you into an actual cell. Okay? That's if you're going into an actual cell. You sit and wait in the facilities they put you in that are small holding facilities meant for temporary housing. They're not the best. 10, 20 people to one toilet. Everybody's sleeping all right. Kind of condition you may have heard about in the holding facilities down there, right? So, what happens? They get through the holding facilities, they get processed, then they get put into main population or the actual holding locations are going to be at. They have schools in there, act for the children, coloring books, things like that. In most of these major facilities are set up. The temporary one, they didn't have any of that. They were temporary. All right. But all of these things, and they have 30 agents at these facilities doing nothing but expediting paperwork, trying to get people through as fast as possible so that they don't have to sit in these facilities for too long. Okay? What's about how the process works? If you board any kind of plane fly to another country, I have to have a passport card works for Americans, but you want to go anywhere out of that, you better have your passport, buddy. It's the same thing with the illegals. The illegals get here, they get processed, we find out they're from El Salvador, Nicaragua, Venezuela, doesn't matter where from. But they're not next door, like Mexico. So what happens? First we have to find out, do you have your passport? They say no. Then they sit in a cell for a minimum of 3 weeks, which is what it takes for the probably least expedited way, but the cheapest way for them to get their passport. The Nicaraguan consulate, the Venezuelan consulate, whatever, to be contacted and say, we've got a dude here with us. Here's his picture. Here's his fingerprints. Yours? And when they say, yeah, he's ours, well, we need to get a passport for him. He needs to go back home. So, hey, there's that expense. That's not taken out of the detainee's pocket. That's coming out of yours. Your pocket, your pocket. You paid whatever, the $35 it might be, maybe more. I don't know how much it is to get a Nicaraguan passport, or a passport in other countries. In Nicaragua, it was about 50 bucks, if I remember correctly, for me to get my Nicaraguan passport because of dual citizenship. Anyway, point being that then all these people that come over that are sick, we have to care for them. We cannot release them until they're healthy. Why? Because the second we took them into custody, we took responsibility for the health of that person. So what ends up happening? Taxpayers, yet again, are being put on the line to care for these people. Okay? What is this? Not only is CBP responsible for transporting those that they catch, but you've got Border Patrol at the border, and then you've got ICE behind them catching all the people that filtered through that Border Patrol did not catch. Okay? ICE, when they take their people, they've got to bring them in and they give them to a Border Patrol facility so that they can be processed, put on a list, and they wait to get on a plane. All right? One of the things that really kind of sucked before that has been changed due to not only the situation we had with all the caravans coming up, but due to COVID as well, was the fact that we could not move anybody out of the United States unless they were going back to their country of origin. Now, thanks to Trump and to his policies, we have partner countries, okay, that will accept people so that we are not overwhelmed in the United States, so that they can be in less crowded cells or holding facilities, whatever you want to call them, okay, and that they would not be subject to as many bad incidents by getting lost in the system. You know, if you're 1 out of 10,000 people, it's hard to make sure that nothing bad happens to you. If you're 1 out of 100 people, it's easier to keep an eye on you and make sure nothing bad happens. But you have to wait until time when they're sending you back to your country. Okay? Whether you're in Mexico, which has partnered with us, I think Costa Rica partnered with us a little bit. I'm going to have to check on Costa Rica. Don't quote me on that because it could be wrong. I know Mexico has. Mexico partnered with us to take off some of the, release some of the tension of us having to care for all these people and whatnot. But we have people that are helping. It used to not be that way. But still, let's just say that you're still in, as you're from South America. Okay, you're from South America, and we don't have enough people to send you back to Ecuador. Okay, we don't have a plane full, so you sit for weeks and weeks on end until we can get enough people to justify to send you down to Ecuador. But you're going to be waiting in a regular cell, in a regular holding facility. Okay, I call them cells just because I don't want to hear that I'm calling, euphemisms. Okay, that is a cell. I'm sorry, you're being detained, you're being held, you're in a holding cell. There's no other way to talk about it. But you're in the one that is ready for you. It's got, the toilet, it's got the bed, you've got blankets, you've got water, you've got everything you need. Okay? The only time that you go back to another, like what some might say, ooh, that's not a very big cell, that's not nice, is when you're already been booked onto a flight. Okay? You're getting ready to fly, dude. So they say, out of jet and pop, you're going over here because we're about to send your happy butt back to your amada patria. You may spend up to 72 hours in this shitty cell while you are waiting to get on a plane. All right? Now, the people that are the worst abusers of our immigration system, the Mexicans, and I can say that because more of them hop the border daily than any other freaking race. I worked there. Okay? And plus, it just makes sense. Mexico's right there. They can hop a freaking fence and run over. Just makes sense. Okay? There are times when that's not the truth. Sometimes when there's a big war, they have a surge from another country, but for the most part, it's mostly Mexicans. So, Mexicans are arrested. They're brought to the holding facility. They're processed, and within a few hours, they're taken to the point of entry and kicked back over the border. What happens with this? Well, there's a few people that have learned how to game the system. And how does that work? Well, you got one dude, and this happens down at the San Isidro gate. There is the border wall extends all the way out into the ocean a few hundred feet. And so if you're really determined, you can literally swim around the wall and land on the beach. And now there's always a Border Patrol agent vehicle parked near the beach because this is common. But you've got naked men. You've got a naked dude that comes over every few hours. Okay, this guy is new. He comes over butt naked next to the freaking CBP vehicle and says, here I am, arrest me. And what does CBP have to do? They got to get him. They've got to clothe him. Okay? He's shirt, pants, shoes, right? Maybe some socks, whatever. Well, let's just call it shirt, pants, shoes. He gets shirt, pants, shoes. They process him. In 2 hours, he's kicked off across the port of entry. 2 hours or more than that later, he's back across the border, butt naked, doing it again. He's selling the clothes when he goes back to Mexico, making some money. Those clothes, maybe whatever. That's Border Patrol time and effort, your tax dollars, okay, being wasted by a guy who's using the system to personally benefit himself. It's ingenious. I mean, God, I found a way. But what does that mean for us? All right? Here's one of the latest things that just happened this last week. Along the border, they detained 4 or 5 Border Patrol agents, detained one Mexican national. When they run the dude's record, guy has 11 arrests in California for violent crimes. Come to find out, the dude is an MMA fighter from Mexico, very good, likes to get high, likes to jump the border and fight Border Patrol agents. Okay? First time he jumped over, 4 or 5 of them were there. Dude was like, don't want a problem. Okay? Don't want any issue. Fingerprint him, process him, throw him across the border. Within an hour, the dude climbs the fence again, hops over because now he knows where that one vehicle is that has the single agent in it, okay, hops over, rushes the agent and him get into a fight. This dude's a trained, drugged out of his mind, and the fighter gets through of the border patrol, steals his baton, and starts beating the border patrol agent within an inch of his life. Border patrol agent absorbs a few blows, says, "Holy shit, this guy's trying to kill me," pulls his gun, bap, bap, right in the fucking firing. Guy's gone. But this is the crap that the border patrol agents deal with on a daily basis down on the border. Okay? No, not on a daily basis or MMA fighters jumping to fight border patrol, but violence, violent people with long rap sheets, violent rap sheets, okay, are coming across the border. Now, this is what Trump was talking about when he said they're all rapists, murderers, they're the best, okay? He wasn't talking about every Latino. He was talking about these assholes that infiltrate the people that are trying to come over. They know that they can probably sneak through in larger groups. The only assholes that were saying, there's no groups like that, criminals and that, were the leftist assholes who have never stepped foot out of this country and think that everybody sings kumbaya in other countries and we're the only assholes that don't. Not true. Not true at all. Okay? So, I'm just trying to look through my notes, guys, because I talked to a bunch of people, so I've got notes all over the place of all the different things that they have witnessed, they have seen in the different locations, like I said, stretching from California to Texas. So let's hit it, because this is the one that kind of pissed me off the last 2 or 3 days, having somebody try to tell me about my people's experience, what we have gone through and whatnot. I might as well be trying to tell a black person about slavery, okay? But here's the deal. There are 500 children still at the border that have not been claimed. Everyone is blaming Trump, saying these children came to the border with parents. Why can't we get their parents? You know? Right? I mean, I'm sure you know who that imitation was. He's been going about campaigning for Biden. And I'll tell you now, he's an idiot. But these children were separated from the people that brought them for one reason and one reason only. Border Patrol does not have a policy of separating minors from their parents unless one situation comes up. If there is a belief that the people that are transporting that child are not either biologically related to them, okay, and you'll see why I'm making this separation in a second, a criminal that is trying to take this child across the border, mostly to be used as some sort of money or asset to be traded for other goods. And unfortunately, that means exactly what you think it means. A lot of these children are being transported across the border to be sold into sexual slavery, okay? Or at the very least, to be sold to somebody for drugs. God knows what that person's going to do to them. Probably just pass them off to the next guy. Some of these children get passed off from the person to the next, to the next, to the next, until they get caught or freed or die. But of 100 children, because it was more like a couple of thousand at the beginning. Once they couldn't find any blood relation, any family for us, because the people that brought them were literally no blood relation. One of the incidents was a person that was coming up to the United States was going to jump the border, and their neighbor literally said, "Please take my child with you so they can have a better life." Okay, so what happens in those situations? That guy's not a drug dealer. That kid's not being sold into sexual slavery, but that child is not there with its parent, so they get separated. The child is ask the child, who's your family? Do you have any family in the States? Do you have a phone number? Where do you come from? They try to contact the family directly in Mexico, whatever country they're at. Pardon me. And the child gets released to family or friends that that are acceptable. These children were not related to the people that brought them up. Most of these children were literally saved from a life of sexual slavery. There's no other way to look at it. Okay. Most of them, unfortunately, a lot of the young women, a lot of the women have been raped along the way, passed from one coyote to another as they got between different sectors. The same coyote doesn't bring you all the way up from freaking, Ecuador. You get handed off to different groups as you get into different gang and cartel locations. Okay. You got to deal with a lot of different people to get all the way through as you're going between regions. Okay. Once they get to the border and it's found out that they're not related, then that happens. Unfortunately, the 500 children that are still in holding cells, according to all the information I could gather from people that work in those facilities and whatnot, is due to the fact that they literally were being trafficked. No family has come to collect them. All the family that has been found has been contacted, and now these children are being forced out of the CBP jurisdiction of the foster system, as I understand that. You have to be a voter. Go forward and look up crap. Fact check it. I already gave the plan. Read your favorite publication. Then go read the people that hate them. Then go somebody else. You get those three perspectives, guys, and you're going to be able to make some of these informed decisions for not only yourself, but your family and your country. Let me say it again. I've said it before. I don't like Trump personally. Okay, there's times where he gets some zingers out, and I'm going to laugh, and I'm going to say, dang, he got you. But the dude's a petulant child. Okay? He doesn't like it when people contradict him. He doesn't like it when he's proven wrong or proven maybe in error, because, let's take one example, all right? Just because, we got to do it. When Trump said that he would like to find a way to have UV light go into the body so that we can cleanse the COVID, everybody laughed at him. Everybody said, what a moron. And there were memes, people with the IVs and, ultraviolet light coming through and shit, right? Because how dumb Orange Man is. Until you went to the National Institute for Health website and found out that since after the first SARS epidemic we had, back yonder years, many different companies started trying to find ways to actually introduce UV light internally, especially to the lungs, so that they could do direct UV sterilization of viruses and bacteria within the system and whatnot. They were using fiber optic cables. When they came forth and attempted to post it on Facebook, Twitter, and the rest, they were banned. They were banned by those platforms for saying that it was false science. They've been working on this project for over 5 years and had working models. Okay? That was the company. I'm sorry, there was two different things that I found. My apologies. There was the company that came forward, and then there was the research I did in the National Institute of Health that said that the National Institute of Health was looking into this to treat other conditions. And I believe that first introduction was in 1994. I'm going off of memory, guys. I know it was in the 90s. I'm saying 94. I could be wrong. Fact check me. Prove me wrong. So it's one of these things where Trump goes off. What I'm going to say is maybe somebody said that to him. Hey, sir, we've got this really far out thing. You wanted to hear all the different options. So I'm just bringing this up but there's a company that was doing this, this, and this, and in 1990s, the National Institute of Health was working with UV light. Maybe that's all he heard. Maybe he overheard a conversation, or maybe he looked up. And then being Trump, he said it in the Trumpian language. Maybe we can find a way to put UV light inside the body. And looked over at, Dr. Birx, and Dr. Birx looked at him like, because she wasn't aware of the research or of the company. I'm sure once she was made aware of it, she might have been like, oh, damn, I wish I would have known this. I could have said something. Or maybe not. Maybe she couldn't. Maybe she still doesn't know about it. But it was in the news for a little while afterward because the company came out and then got whatever. Okay. So the other thing, we're going to wrap this up real quick. The last thing I want to bring to you guys is this. Y'all made fun of the border wall. Y'all said it's not going to work. It's not going to help. People are just going to climb over it. This is what I found out from my friend across the country there. In every sector, at least once a week, somebody tries to climb over the border and jump off of it. Currently, there is a man in Southern California, I believe. I could be wrong on the location. Right now, he is in the hospital with a broken back and tubes. He is put through multiple operations to fix everything that is wrong with him on the taxpayer's dime. How many hundreds of thousands of dollars do you think are going to be used on this one person that came over the border wall? This guy should be the poster child. They should post pictures of this dude all broken and crap, and yes, I'm making fun of him. Deal with it. All broken and shit on the ground, picture, blow it up and put it on the opposite side of the wall. No brinques o te vas a quedar así. Don't jump or you're going to end up like this guy. Get informed. People that are the subject matter experts on whatever you have questions about. Border Patrol people, ICE people, look up the numbers. To my friends out there that have contradicted me, to my friends out there that think that I'm talking from a very narrow point of view, since I was 5 years old, I have been traveling the world. I have been living in other countries, learning about other cultures, and realizing the similarities that all human beings have to one another, save some cultural differences. Somebody in China or Japan gets just as cold as you and I do and wants a sweater. They want food. They want a better life, the same way that somebody in Iraq does. They don't want to live in the slums. They want a better life. They want to be cool when it's hot. They want a full belly when they're hungry. They want the opportunity for betterment. There's no question about this. But every country has their laws and rules. And if you want to be a part of that society and culture, you must bend to those. In the United States, we have a very unique system where we celebrate, or I should say we used to. Now it's all cultural appropriation, right? But we used to celebrate our differences. We used to love to go down to Little Italy, Little Koreatown, Little Vietnam, Little Saigon, whatever you want to call it, Little Tokyo. All these ethnically centric locations and enjoy their festivals, their food, their culture. And we appropriated it and made it part of the American experience. Now everybody is so caught up on trying to be a super special snowflake that if another, like in my case, if another toothless Nicaraguan started talking politics, if I had the mentality that is of today, I would be pissed. How dare he take my thing? Instead of looking at that person and saying, good, another Nicaraguan has a political page and more of our views are going to get out there. God bless him. I don't like AOC. I think AOC is stupid. I think she's probably the most educated woman I've ever seen in my life. Why? Because of socialists across the world. They want to sing the Kumbaya. They want everybody to join hands and everybody will lead with their best foot. And we'll all be equal and we'll all be awesome together. But you forget just how despicable we are as human beings. Yes, it's one of us. Okay? I've done despicable things. You've done despicable things. Every last one of us. Right now, in your own mind, I don't care who you are, you can deny it all you want. You've been racist at least once in your life. Absolutely. 100%. Even in the days, and I'll put it to you this way, even in the days right after 9/11, we were like, kill the Haji! Because they just killed 3,000 Americans. That was fucking racist. Was it righteous, justified anger against the people that had just killed 3,000 of our people? You're damn right it was. But it was also racist. So don't come at me as though you've never done anything in your life. Now, obviously, there's a difference between the everyday person who may have had a bad day, says, stupid Mexican, under their breath, or something like that. Okay? Then the, robe-wearing Klansman, or the, black glove, black leather suit wearing Black Panther guy. Okay? Antifa, BLM, racist as hell. But that's life. That's the real world. Inform yourself, guys. Really do. Inform yourself, because when you don't inform yourself and you go half-cocked, you look like an idiot. Don't ever try to deny other people's experiences, okay? But let's look at the word experience. I saw something happen, and I was a completely third party to it and was looking from a distance. Is not an experience, that's an observation. I was in the mix. They were arresting me. I was going to the Border Patrol facility. That's experience. Or, hey, I'm on a plane with a unit of Americans coming back from Germany, and I get pulled out of a line because I look Arabic while in uniform that says U.S. Army on it. That's racist. Okay? Them having a list say, dude, if this guy, Alan Ernesto, comes through your line, he's a known terrorist and he's, pretending to be a soldier. Not right? Am I right or am I wrong? Okay. So let's just get all on the same bandwagon. Not everything is racist. I am sorry that more Latinos are in the holding facilities along the border to Latin America. I heard that the holding facilities up north are full of Canadians, Le Français, and any number of Arab people that have gone to Canada and tried to go across, and Mexicans, Nicaraguans, etc., comparatively. Okay? Flip-flop them, and you're not going to have as many white people getting arrested out on the southern border as Latins. Your feelings really don't matter for shit. They don't. We can all be outraged at stories of women getting hysterectomies at the border, supposedly against their will. We can all be outraged about that headline until you find out that over 3 years, 2 hysterectomies were performed that the doctor said he found absolutely necessary. The stories go on to say that when they were brought into the hospitals, there was not always somebody that could translate correctly to the people. So these people that are complaining that said, oh my God, they gave me a hysterectomy and I didn't want it. The doctor may have been trying to tell them, you've got cancer. and I have to remove this or you will die, or you've got endometriosis. The majority of the people that are coming up are the most highly educated people. They are the people, the poorest of the poor, that are getting shit on in their own countries. Nobody's going to deny that. No one will deny that there are two classes, and you're not like the United States. There's no middle. There's no middle ground. You either have money or you have shit. That's it. In most of Latin America. Normally, it's the poorest of the poor. Half these people don't know how to read, or they're at a third grade reading level. They don't know much about medicine. The crap that you and I take for granted. Oh my gosh, he's got an upset stomach. Let's give him antacid. Okay? Yeah, they know that basic kind of crap. But when it comes to like bigger deals, like, oh, gosh, I have a lot of pain. I need to see the doctor. I don't know what it is. Well, man, you're suffering from endometriosis. Que putas eso is the answer you're going to get. Because these are not the most educated people. So the doctor could have easily been trying to explain to her, I have to perform this procedure or you will die. She didn't get it. So what ends up happening when she gets back and you got AOC or one of her lefty news reporters coming through, all they hear is, me hicieron cirugía y no sé por qué. They gave me surgery and I don't know why. And, terrible, terrible. Nazis performing medical experiments on the rest and blah, 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 blah. Occam's razor, folks. See, Border Patrol, ICE, they're humans. They make mistakes. They get overwhelmed. They have to deal with the same facilities that they have been given, no matter how big the influx of people coming in. For those of you out there that are hating on Trump because of the immigration policies, you're very ignorant. Very, very ignorant. Number one, you're ignorant of politics, how it works. You're ignorant of history and the things that Trump has tried to do to help with immigration and whatnot. And you're basically obtuse. You are being willingly obtuse because you don't want to accept the fact that you could be wrong. I know I could be wrong. I know I could. Okay? If documents, if proof comes out that all these terrible things are happening, okay? You give me pictures today of little kids sleeping on the floor with the tin foil blankets, okay, the space blankets, stacked 25 to a thing, and their parents are just in the next cell. Ay, mijito, mijito, mijita, and they're being separated just to be cruel. Let's talk, because that's bullshit. That shouldn't happen. Border Patrol says they have a policy of not separating people that they know are a family unit. They didn't do it under Obama. They're not doing it today. But under Obama and Trump, people are being separated from children are being separated from adults that have been found to either not be blood relations, and we want to know, hey, are you just a friend bringing them up, which is not allowed anyway, or are you some sort of creepy sex trafficker that we need to do more stuff to? Okay? Hope it's been informative. If you have any questions, hit me up. Comments below, Facebook, YouTube. But honestly, a lot of people need to do a lot of research and understand that Orange Man is bad, but he's not as bad as you think he is. He's just a petulant baby, but he does the right thing when it comes to policy. Have yourselves a wonderful day. Don't forget to vote. Do not forget to vote. Blue, red, don't care, vote or be dead. Okay? If you don't vote, you got no fucking to bitch about anything that comes out of this election, be it Trump gets to put another fucking justice on the Supreme Court and they get to take back the Senate and the House and they do everything they want, or vice versa. If you don't vote, you've got no right to bitch. All right, guys, get out there and vote. Much love. Remember, guys, get your Brute Squad 3-in-1 koozie. That way you can drink refreshing drinks while I ramble on about things that I think I know all sorts of stuff about. All right? Don't forget that, guys. And again, vote. Vote. Have a great day, guys. I am bending both strings right now.